Hey everybody, Knick-Knack here on my second channel, Knick-Knack Anime, back again for another video. Now first, some of you are gonna be like, you haven't made a video in a while, why? We kinda miss you, kinda. Do something here on this channel. Let me go over a couple of reasons why I haven't been active here. First reason is because real life is way more important than making videos here on YouTube. Most of you understand. Like, I have school, I'd rather use all that time for school. And also, whatever free time I do have, I'd rather decide to use that time on either watching anime or playing games. Most of you are kind of like that as well. And the second reason why is because I've kind of been lacking the enthusiasm to make videos due to something that happened to me personally that I don't want to talk about because it sucks and I just have to move on. But for these next few months or weeks, I'm going to try my best to put out as much content as possible. And yeah, starting with this review, or first impressions. Now for this first impressions, as you see down below, this is gonna be a first impressions of a recent OVA that has been released, and that's Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood. Now before I talk about the first episode of this OVA, let me go over an overview of what has happened. Yesterday, there was this big event going on, hyping up and promoting the release of the upcoming game Final Fantasy 15, which is going to be released on September 30th of this year. And for this event, they talked about just the gameplay and game in general, and some other few interesting things about this game. And one of the things that they talked about is that they have recently made an anime, like a 5-part OVA anime of Final Fantasy 15 that's gonna serve as a prequel story to the game. So fortunately, once they announced that, they already said that the anime was released already online, so I checked it out. And for those who want to see the first episode of this anime, link is down below. So I watched the OVA, and I do have to say, it's kind of confusing. And it was kind of hard because I'm a Final Fantasy fan, I like anime. I thought I was gonna be, oh sweet, two things I love combined together, but really it wasn't happening like that. I think the main reason why is because this OVA seems to be for people who have been following the Final Fantasy game and its trailers after its announcement. So I'm a guy who hasn't followed the trailers and have no idea what's going on. Because of that, the story was kind of a bit confusing to me. The story of this game, as I said again, serves as a prequel to the Final Fantasy 15 game that will soon be released. And from what I could gather, it follows our hero or protagonist Noctis, who's supposed to be a prince, escaping his kingdom, and because I believe they're being oppressed by this evil empire who has invaded them. And pretty much from this first episode, the anime just consists of Noctis and his team of either guards or friends traveling around the world by car, trying to avoid this evil empire who oppressed his past kingdom, and he's trying to find some princess who's gonna marry him. As I said again, the story for the most part was confusing, and I don't know what was happening, and mainly it was a weak story. But this was due to the fact that I had no knowledge of what's going on because I haven't seen any of the Final Fantasy 15 trailers except for one. And pretty much the story seems to be people who have been following this game ever since. But from what the story is, it was not too boring, but it was really confusing. And on top of that, the story for most parts, as I said again, all the episode ever is from episode 1 consists of Noctis and his friends just driving around, exploring the world they're in, and in the end of this episode, it consists of them finding like soldiers of this evil empire that they're against, and fight. Noctis and his crew fights them. And that's pretty much the story. Confusing, but not boring. But that's pretty much the weakest part of the OVA so far, because let's get on to the animation. And I do have to say the animation is pretty well. I really love how smooth it felt. The animation, yeah, as I said again, was smooth. It flowed really well. The character designs and world seemed to be good budget. And considering this is A1 Pictures, it wasn't gonna be like extremely horrible. The one thing that made the animation pretty good for me was the fight scene at the end, consisting of Noctis, his crew, and soldiers from the evil empire. It just flows so smoothly, and the way Noctis fought, with him just like stabbing his enemies and then teleporting and just like slashing them, it looked so nice and reminiscent of the game and its trailers. And yeah, animation for the most part, I can't really say anything like kinda too horrible about it. So overall, from this crappy first impressions, I have to say Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood was kind of decent. Not the worst Final Fantasy based anime of all time, because there are way worse pieces of shit, but a pretty decent one. And considering I myself am a Final Fantasy fan and am looking forward to Final Fantasy 15 in a way, I'm gonna be checking this anime out and finishing it. So pretty much there you go. That's my first impressions of Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood. Sorry that this is a piece of shit, but I'm kinda like bad at reviewing stuff, and I'm way more into games than anime, so I can't really tell what good anime or good animation is. Like, I know bad animation and extremely fucking beautiful animation, but not like meh or stuff like that. So anyway, this video is going on too long, so I'm gonna end it here. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Take it easy, and until next video, and let me know what I could do better for these first impressions, because I want to try and do more of them.